Cobra rolls are one of the more challenging elements that we'll tackle. If you've been following along, we'll start off very similar to previous elements with initial speed of 25 meters per second. And since many of these elements tend to fan out into a V shape, we were going to approach this at a slight angle of -7 degrees roll, and with a normal force of 3.8 Gs. And then I'm going to again lower the height, initial height, to 5 meters. And then we need to switch to multi-zone force sections and then change the orientation to quaternion. And then just as a tip, what I typically do when creating elements like this is I work on the normal profile first, and then I'll change the roll settings to shape the track. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the lateral and roll timelines for now, and we'll focus exclusively on the normal force. So you want the element to start off with a short section that doesn't change anything. So we'll continue with a normal force of 3.8 Gs, and let me go ahead and turn on the force fins. And then I'll create a longer segment where we transition from 3.8 Gs to 0.8 Gs, so that's a difference of -3 Gs here. And we'll increase this to about 1.77. Like this. Then we'll add another normal section, where this time we'll increase the G-force. This will form the middle part of the cobra roll, and so we need to increase the G-force by about 2.4 Gs. Alright, so now let's backtrack a little bit and focus on the roll value, or the roll profile. So for about the first half of this track so far, we don't want to change the roll at all. So if we go up to a value of 1.83 and then add another roll section and then start with our roll. So we want to roll by about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more. So let's try 92. And then we want to just sync this up. And then I want to increase the length of this normal section to 1.17 seconds. And I'm not pulling these numbers out of my head. This is a rather complicated element, so I created a version beforehand, and then I'm now recreating it from notes that I took on the previous version. Alright, so this creates the first half of the cobra roll. And now what we're going to do is add a new section. We can switch to single zone force, and then the orientation again change to quaternion. And this will be the middle section of our roll, and it's going to be 0.42 seconds long. And then we'll add a third and final section, and this will basically be just the reverse of the first section. So we'll switch back to multi-zone. Again, make sure the orientation is quaternion. And we're going to more or less go in reverse of what we did before. Not exactly, because the train is not moving at the same speed as it was due to friction at the beginning of the element. But it'll be almost the same. So now we're going to have a normal section of 1.2 seconds. We'll add a second one. Let me go ahead and lock the lateral and roll timelines. And during the first section here, we're going to change the force by -2.6 Gs, which is not quite the same as before, but given the fact that we're traveling slower, seems to work well. And then add a second section of 1.8 seconds. where now we'll increase the force in this part by 2.9 Gs, and just ignore the shape for the time being. And then we'll add a final section where we don't change anything. It will just be a constant force section of 0.45 seconds. Alright, that's it for the normal profile. Now let me unlock the roll timeline and switch back to it and focus on that. So the first section will be 1.45 seconds, and now instead of rolling 92 degrees, we'll roll minus 92 degrees. That makes sense. And then we'll add another section where we don't change the roll at all, so I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And the time length here will automatically change to 2 seconds to make it flush with the other timelines. And there you have it. And again, this is a rather difficult element to create, so it took quite a bit of trial and error to come up with this final shape. And as you can see, it is indeed in a sort of V shape if we look at it head on. And you can adjust that by changing the initial roll value. So if a smaller magnitude of roll at the beginning, say -5, then that will produce a less pronounced V shape to the cobra roll. But then you'll have to change the other parameters as well to kind of compensate for that. But that's one of the things that you can adjust. Okay, now let's look at it in the simulator to see how well we did.